everybody, I'm Dr. Angel Storm. I'm the founder of Ashes to Beauty Ministries, and I am taking a break from my regularly scheduled videos to bring you this one. I was actually asked to do this video by somebody who had come across my Facebook page, and I really felt like this was a super important topic to speak to you about. So the topic is, I'm married to a narcissist and I want to stay married. Can it work? And this is a very complicated question. There's many layers to it, so I'm going to try to go through it as thoroughly as I possibly can. So first of all, there's no yes or no answer to this question because every single situation is different, and the degree of narcissism is different in people, and the way that it's expressed, and whether or not you have children with the narcissist, whether or not you work outside of the home. So all of these things go into answering this question, and I want you to know that there isn't like a simple yes or no question. Every single situation, the person who's in that position needs to be the one to ultimately make the decision of whether they stay in the marriage or they get out of the marriage. So that's number one. Nobody can make the decision for you, regardless of what the decision ends up being. So first of all, ask yourself what is going on in the relationship and what would be the reasons that you would want to stay. Is it because you have children with a narcissist? Is it because you depend on that person for financial stability? Is it because you're in a covenant relationship with them and you believe that it would be breaking that covenant to leave the narcissist, and your beliefs don't allow you to do that? Really take a look and see what is keeping you in the marriage. What is the ultimate goal or thing that you want to accomplish by staying in the relationship if you were to stay? Sometimes if you're in a relationship with a narcissist, your world just becomes so much about them that you can't even remember what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And so really getting back in tune with those goals and remembering what it is that you entered into this relationship for, and seeing if there's any way to salvage those things. Leaving a narcissist can be difficult if you're married to one and if you do not work outside of the home, meaning you aren't financially independent. And I absolutely understand that, and I actually have a video that speaks all about narcissism and money and tips that you can use to start building up your own wealth so that money isn't the reason that you're stuck in the relationship that's abusive or harmful to you or to your children. So check out that video for sure after this one is done to more clearly find, if the reason that you're with the narcissist is for financial reasons, check out that video for sure. If the reason that you're with the narcissist and you're debating about whether or not to leave the marriage is because you have children together, I would ask you to take a look at what you are teaching your children as you stay with the narcissist, and especially if you have a girl. If you have a daughter, ask yourself, if your daughter was in that situation, would you tell her to stay or go? What would you want your daughter to do? Because whether you stay or whether you leave, you are teaching your children lessons. Both of those carry lessons attached with them. So don't think that you're staying and you're teaching them, this is what I want to teach them. You can be teaching them a very powerful lesson by leaving as well. So it's up to you and your situation, as I said before, to determine what needs to happen. But know that you aren't just teaching them lessons if you stay. And if you do stay, is that the type of lesson you want to be teaching them? Above all, I believe that God's voice needs to be the loudest voice in your life. I believe that you need to listen to his voice regardless of what anybody else says. I don't care if they're your pastors. I don't care if they are some sort of counselor. Anybody who is in true connection to the Lord should never go against his voice anyway. And so if your pastor is telling you to stay with your husband, with your spouse, even though they know that abuse is occurring, that person is not speaking on behalf of God. God didn't create anybody or anything that he made to be abused, and you should not stay in that situation. If there is physical abuse, get out. If the verbal and emotional abuse is taking you away and tearing down your God-given identity, you really need to start pursuing what you're doing in that situation. Is that the life that God designed you to live? You need to be following His plans, His purposes, His voice above everything else going on in your life. And you need to be with people who will help you hear His voice, who will help you decide what that plan would look like and how to evolve this situation, whether it means this situation can be handled through ministries such as Deliverance or Sozo, or whether you need to just get out and move on and move forward with a new life. You need somebody who can come alongside of you and who can help you develop that plan and help you implement the plan as well. Okay, so you want to stay with the narcissist. Let's say you just decide it's not that bad, I can deal with it, and I'm going to stay with the narcissist since we have children. I would still ask you to ask yourself, to what end? Are you planning to leave the narcissist when the kids are out of the house? Like, what is ultimately the goal of staying with the narcissist? Are you hoping that at some point he's going to just magically change? Are you hoping that at some point he's going to be open to taking your feelings, your desires, your dreams into consideration? Like, what ultimately are you trying to get out of that relationship? So important that as quickly as possible, if you are in a situation where you cannot leave the narcissist, so you're either married, so you can't just pick up and leave because you have a legal obligation to this person, or you have a parent in the house who is a narcissist, or whatever the situation is, that you get outside help involved as quickly as possible. As soon as you recognize that there's an issue, that this person is above and beyond like what normal couples would experience as they're married, you need to get outside help involved. You need to have your pastors or start seeing a therapist. There needs to be goals that you both agree to, whether that's therapy every week or meeting with your pastors once a week, whatever your specific situation calls for. You have to have somebody who can help hold him accountable, because if you're the one who's trying to do it, you've already been trying to do that and it's not going to work. So you need to make sure that you have somebody who can come alongside of you and say, yeah, you know what, you're right, he isn't working on this. This really isn't a situation where he seems to care one way or the other. And a marriage, any type of relationship, it's 100-100. You both need to be giving 100% in order for that relationship to work. It's not 50-50. And even if you are giving 100% and that person isn't giving anything to making the relationship work, you really need to take a look at the longevity. How long can that type of situation last? Even if you want to stay with the narcissist until the children are out of the house, what then? What is your life going to look like then? How many more years is that down the road for you? How do you think that that would impact your kids then versus doing it now? If you're trying to stay together for the kids, there's a lot more that goes into that than just simply saying it's good for them to have a mom and a dad that's in the same house, because a lot of times that's very destructive. You're teaching them, whether you are aware of it or not, how to do a marriage, how to do a family, how to do life together with somebody else. And if they see nothing but fighting, if they see only, the dad putting the mom down or whatever the situation would be, remember that that's going to be their standard. They're going to think that that's normal. So do you want that to continue on? Do you want to perpetuate that type of relationship? Again, there's no right or wrong answer to these things, because in some situations, it's wise to stay with the narcissist to see, can the church help? Can my leadership come around me and see if we can get some deliverance or some sort of thing that happens to get this person back on track? Is there some sort of shift that can happen in the spirit of the other person, of my spouse, right? And get this thing back on track. Also, you don't have to, it's not one or the other. You don't have to stay or get divorced. You can also get separated. Take a period of time and say, you need to go work on yourself. Show me that you're dedicated to improving your own self, and then improving our relationship, improving the relationship that you have with the kids, and let's move forward from there. There's a whole lot of other steps that could be taken besides either staying or getting divorced. It doesn't have to be black and white like that. And there are other options that you can do in the meantime to put some distance between you and the narcissist, so that you can both kind of have your own space to think about what it is that you want out of life, what it is that you want out of that relationship, and what you want ultimately moving forward. When I start meeting with a new client, what I always ask them is, what is it that you ultimately want? If you could wave a magic wand and your life would look a certain way, what is that vision? And if their answer is that the narcissist isn't a narcissist, I'm going to tell you, you need to start reevaluating your vision. Okay, you don't get to control what somebody else is or isn't. That's manipulation. That's partnering with the same spirit as the narcissist is. So it's important for you to be realistic in what you're asking for. Okay, yes, I got it. Like, obviously everybody wishes that nobody was a narcissist. In the case of free will, and since we all have that, what is the next thing that you want your life to look at? Let's say you cannot affect him. Let's say he's always going to be a narcissist and he's going to continue to behave the way that he's going to behave. What would you like your life to look like? What would you like your children's future to look like? What would you like the situation for your living circumstances to be? You know, those types of things, those detailed things, start looking at that stuff, because that's the kind of stuff that you can actually control. I think I talk about this in my Life After Narcissism course. So can I pray for the person that I'm with? Yes, obviously. You should be praying for your spouse. You should be praying for your children anyway. And you can ask that he would have a radical encounter with the Lord, that you can ask that something would just come in quickly and break these chains. But you must understand that there has to be, and those prayers are going to facilitate the circumstance for your spouse to be encountered in that manner. However, that doesn't change the fact that he still has a free will and what he does in that encounter. That encounter can happen and he can still choose to be the way that he is, and to not soften his heart, to not humble himself, and to change his ways. And I talk about, in my previous video that I released this week, I talk about how narcissism is a spirit. And so it's very important that you're aware that you aren't just dealing with someone's own will. That's their soul. You have to understand that their soul is partnering with a spirit, and that thing is the thing that has to get broken. And the person has to be willing to do that. You see, a lot of narcissists willingly partner with the spirit behind what they are, because they know that it gives them control, it gives them power. There's social prestige usually that comes with that, because they're very influential, they're very charming, they're charismatic. And so a lot of, perks come along with partnering with that spirit. And so they do so willingly. And that is very important to understand the mechanisms of what's happening. Ask the Lord for insight into your specific situation. Ask him to reveal to you where this thing got in. How did it enter? When did it enter? Why did it enter? And start praying against those things. And in the meantime, recognize that you can enable that spirit. Okay, if you are continuing to just go with the flow and you don't take a stand against it, your behavior doesn't change, your words, the way that you pray, they don't change. If you're not bringing in outside help, if you're not seeking to make a change in the natural, you're not seeking those things in the spirit first to bring about into the natural, you're enabling that spirit. You are partnering and allowing it to continue on. It's important that you recognize that indecision is a decision. And so what you continue to allow is what is going to continue. And again, I can't sit here and say it's always right to leave the narcissist, or it's always right to immediately leave the narcissist. You have to be strategic. And in a lot of situations, if there's physical abuse happening, you do need to do some planning. And by the way, I have free resources that will download automatically to whatever device you're on as soon as you click on it on the homepage of my ministry website, ashestobbeautyministries.org. You'll see a little icon that says free resources. Just click on it and the PDF will automatically download, and you're going to be able to find out ways that you can do escape planning and other resources that can help you navigate what to do in your specific situation. Again, this is a difficult video to do because there isn't a real black and white answer about, yes, you should leave, you need to leave now, or no, you shouldn't leave and you should never leave. There's a million points, you know, endless amount, in fact, of points in between those two options. And so finding what would work best for you, your family, your situation, financially, emotionally, physically, all of that kind of stuff, it needs to go into your decision so that you can be making not only the best decision for yourself and for your children, but ultimately for your destiny. You know, you need to partner with God on this. This isn't just something that you can just make because that's how you feel in a certain situation. You need to really pray into this and find out, like, what is the will of the Lord for your life and for your situation specifically, for your children's lives. Are you hindering their destiny by staying in that situation? You know, these things need to be really not just thought about, but prayed through. You need to pray through these issues, and nobody can do that except for you. You can have people who can come around you and who can help you, who can aid you, who can be in intercession for you, but ultimately the burden of what to do and how to implement it, that all has to be done by you, led by you. And so I hope this video helps you kind of understand, will it work or will it not? I have no idea. It depends on your specific situation, but I do believe that there's steps that you can take to figure out what is the right time. You know, there's moments of opportunity that have a special grace on them, and you need to be able to partner with what's happening in the spirit as far as timing goes as well. And so taking all of these things into consideration, and if you flesh all of these things out, I know that you're going to find the best and the right decision for you and for your family. If you want to find out more about me and what I do, you can visit the description of this video where I have all of my links to my websites, my e-courses, my books, mentorship programs. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to my channel below and turn on the bell so that you get all of the notifications whenever I upload a new video.